Hello, everyone. Juan Romero here from Buenos Aires, your English teacher. I was thinking about there's a um, big difference between a native English teacher and a non-native English teacher. The question is it better to have a native English teacher or uh, is it worse? Is there a big difference? Some people ask me for English lessons based on US English or on UK English or British or American, whatever. Um, that preference comes from some intention of trying to get deep into a regional dialect, I suppose, or something like that. And what I always say about that is that when you are a native teacher, maybe if you studied linguistics or some higher education career, of course you know your job. Of course, once you know your native language, you study language and the roots, the history, the culture, in the European languages, and so on. That's really interesting if you want to focus on that science, and history, which is uh, an incredible subject. But what about communication? Just talking. Well, a native teacher. I got a friend. I say hello to him. Is Richard Cooper, and he used to be one of my colleagues when I was teaching and in a place giving private lessons. And he's from Birmingham. He's a British lad, and we always talked about this. What is the difference? I was in one table, uh, doing my lessons. And he was on the other side with other student, and it was pretty much the same because people want to communicate, and this is the base, is the idea. Now, if you're looking for a native Canadian because you're going to live in Canada and you want to prepare, one thing is to talk and communicate, and another one is to disguise your voice or your accent. Why? Because you gain that regional dialect, accent, call it what you want, um, actually living in the place where this language is spoken. That's it. Um, this is why I always say there's no difference. Do you wanna learn American English? Of course, well, I always say this: just watch TV, American sitcoms or American TV shows, and come on, get on with it. But are you really practicing your American English accent? What kind of American English accent? Um, um, what do you mean American English? General English, West Coast, East Coast, South, Deep South, Canadian? Um, there's a big discussion in this. And if you talk about for example, the one test, an American test is the TOEFL, which is an American test. Well, I understand you need to listen hours and hours of people with American accent. The people who speak in those listening passages are American people, but they use a general English accent. They don't use they don't speak in their regional dialect because there's one standard, and you have to know that. It's good that you want to sound like a native, but it's a hard work. It's a hard work, especially in terms of phonetics. Many people are really interested in phonetics, but that's hard work. And how long does it take? It takes a lot because you need to make some research on your voice and on how the sound is being produced. And that's I think for me it's very exciting work on phonetics, but you need to know that. And the accent, you get it once you live in that place, depending where in the world you happen to be. So it's interesting that many people, I was talking to a customer last week, and she told me, look, no, can you offer me a training based on American English? And I said, oh, what do you mean American? Are you going to live in America? Are you going to study in America? And she said, no, no, I prefer American English. But I said, and this is the point. I'm not a native American speaker, so my accent and the way I sound is a mixture of different um, accents because I'm not a I speak English as a second language. I'm not a native speaker, and I never been living in other place because if I were living in Europe or Ireland or Scotland or Australia, uh, sure I would have that regional dialect because it's natural, but and talking to people in my Discord server from India, from the Southeast Asia, really interested in improving their accent. They told me they really wanted to sound British because they one day they were dreaming to travel to England and sound like a native. And there's another thing, the cultural heritage. You have your own country, your identity, and that's really important to remember that, because if you forget where you come from, you sound, for example, you want to sound posh, of course, like the BBC presenters, and you want to talk like that. No, don't. You're confusing yourself, and the rest of the people will say, "What?" Because there's a street accent in London and there's a posh accent, and that is cultural and it's historical and it's social classes, and it's a long story. So if you don't focus in just communicate and then improve the way you sound and try to pretend or faking something that you're not, you'll probably end up frustrated because you're not going to get to the point because you waste your time. Like I said in another video, just cut down the level of information you receive and try to improve from that point. But remember that you won't ever be a native speaker unless you move to that place and you end up living there. Of course, you will have an accent of Birmingham or Dublin or Manchester, wherever, that regional dialect. You will have that. Um, there is a fantasy. This is why I am making this video. There's a fantasy for people to sound like a native. I'm not a native speaker, and I won't ever be, because I'm from Argentina, from Buenos Aires, and I speak Spanish as a native language. But what's the deal here is that you need to practice in an honest way and not trying to pretend something you're not. That's the deal. And when you get to communicate with other people and they get to understand what you say, that's success. Come on, relax and try to do your best. And then if you want to go to the next level, try to practice your mastering skills on another level. But this is academic English. That's something else. Remember that. And the first question, is better to practice English with a native speaker and a non-native speaker? No, it's the same. Because the native teacher, maybe he's a native person, but he's not a teacher, and he doesn't have that academic skills. If you want to improve your academic skills, then you won't have any success. Maybe you will get to talk with the foreigner, and that's interesting, but nothing more than that. So remember that, guys. Try to find a cool teacher that will let you be free to communicate and to focus on your expression, not on your tone or your accent of something that you're not. Because yeah, if you want to, have fun, we can pretend and create, regional dialects, but that's more like acting or comedy or something like that. It's fun. I love to pretend, but this is who I am. This is how I talk, and this is my English. And yes, I'm not from and I'm not a native speaker, but I'm a non-native teacher, and yeah, it's worth it. And this is how I teach. I try to make you understand what I mean, and that's the point. And also in academic skills, if you want to get deep, that's another thing. That's another skill. You need to have that skill in order to succeed in improving your academic English, which is something in terms of higher education. And that's the point. So guys, remember, if you want to look for a native teacher, try to find a cool teacher that is not pretending to be a teacher. He might be a native teacher, but maybe that's not what you're looking for. Like I said before, if you want to talk to some foreign person, that's great. That's a cool experience. It's like, talking to a tourist. But no, I'm talking about education and communication, which is the base. Yeah, it's the base of being a human being. And well, this is it for today's lesson. I hope you like this chat. I will do another video on this topic, but in Spanish for my beginners. So see you next time. Take care. And well, let's stay tuned. Follow me on my social media, and I don't know. What can I say? Come on, get away.